Hello, I am Marcia Myrie, your health and wellness, lifestyle, and mindset coach. Welcome home. Today, I want to continue with the discussion of finding out where you are right now. Just taking an honest look at yourself, making an assessment. As we talked about various ways you can assess where you are right now to see what's really going on. Well, I want to continue with that focus. And I want to give you another tool to put in your toolbox. And I want to share with you an assessment tool that was developed by a scientist his name was Dr. Bill Hetler. And this assessment is considered the 6 dimensions of wellness model. So there's so many ways to look at your wellness, and so there are modules that you can use, and one is the 6 dimension of wellness. And so here are the 6 dimensions. The first one is occupational wellness. The second one is physical wellness. The third is social wellness. And then you have intellectual wellness. E is emotional wellness. And S, spiritual wellness. So I like to look at it as O.P.S.I.E.S, like the O.P.S.I.E.S, as a great way to remember it. And then I.E.S. So occupational, physical, social, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And so overall, you would just kind of consider each dimension and rate yourself in terms of how well you're doing in that category. So if you look at a scale from 1 to 10, 10 could represent you're doing great, you're nailing it. And 1 could represent not so well, a lot of room for improvement. So when you think about your occupational wellness, that is focusing on your purpose, your fulfillment, how satisfactory or how satisfied you feel in your work and your daily responsibilities, whatever that might be. So how satisfied, how fulfilled are you in those areas? And so whether you work inside the home or outside of the home, your work could be volunteerism, your work could be in corporate America, your work could be a blue collar worker, your work could be in the home as a domestic engineer. Whatever your work is, do you find purpose and fulfillment in it? Do you get energized by it? Or do you dread going to work every day? Now, I know, especially in this economy, people are kind of all over the place in terms of their work. They might not really enjoy their work, but then again, they don't want to let go of that work because so many people are losing jobs and getting downsized. I want you to put all that aside for the assessment purpose. And I want you just to think about how fulfilled you are. Because those other things that I just mentioned are true. We're not discounting it, but we don't want to muddy the waters. I want you to kind of focus in on how fulfilled and how satisfied you are in your occupation. And just simply kind of use that scale 1 to 10 and identify where you are. Are you just uber fulfilled, satisfied? Oh, and I love life in the area of my occupation. Or is it somewhere else on that scale? Identify it. That is how you would assess it. And we're not even talking about what you're going to do about it today. It's just about taking an honest look at how you feel, how fulfilled you are with your occupation. Okay, so the next one would be your physical wellness. And when we talk about physical wellness, we're talking about the full gamut. We're talking about movement, nutrition, how you feel in your body, your hydration, how much sleep you're getting. All of that is encompassing your physical wellness, and really take an honest look at your wellness, your physical wellness, and rate it. How is your energy? Do you get enough sleep at night? Are you only sleeping 2 to 3 hours in a night? Look at all of those areas and assess your physical wellness. How are you eating? Is the food that you're eating whole foods? Are you eating mostly processed food? Are you eating a lot of junk food? Or do you eat, even in terms of your snacks, are there healthier options? Listen, I can have a whole session on talking about how to optimize healthy snacks. But right now, we just want to assess it and not judge it other than rating it from 1 to 10. You are knocking it out the park. Your physical wellness is great. You would give it a 10, or if it's somewhere along the line below 10, you want to kind of zone in and say, am I mid-grade? Is that a 5? Or is it just, I have a lot to improve? You might want to put it down at a 1 or a 2. But being focused and looking at one of the 6 dimensions of wellness now helps you target, and you can get very laser sharp and specific and honest with yourself and seeing where you are right now. Okay, social wellness. That is looking at your relationships. That is a part of your wellness, and I can't say this enough. This is an area that kind of gets overlooked often, but how connected are you, and how much support are you getting from other people? Do you communicate with other people, or are you isolated? So important. There are many initiatives that are in the world today, especially after the pandemic. And we suffered so much with being isolated, that there are so many initiatives that are working to optimize people's social modalities. I know, for one, the church that I attend is big, huge on social connections and creating pathways where people can do life together. So vital. So rate that. Where are you on that scale, on a scale of 1 to 10? 10, you are super connected and your relationships are healthy. It's easy for you to communicate with others and talk and you feel supported, or not so much. And wherever that is, rate it. And we can address it later. In later videos, I could probably take each one of them and we can kind of talk about how to optimize each of those areas. But for this video, just want you to identify and to assess. And this would be a great place to pause. And if you have not subscribed to this video, I encourage you right now, just press the subscribe button. That is a great way, a free way to support this channel. If you feel as though it's helpful to you, then this is a great way to help the algorithm so that other people can get content like this. And don't forget to like it, to comment, and to share. So I thank you for that. The next dimension of wellness is intellectual. And so this includes how mentally stimulated you are. How curious are you about topics, subjects? Do you have a growth mindset? Is your mind being stimulated? Are you reading or listening to anything that's stimulating your mind, your curiosity, your learning capacity, your cognition? That is what we're talking about here. Or are you just kind of vegging out all day, not stimulating your mind, scrolling on social media, nothing of real content or meaning, or you're just watching TV or playing video games mindlessly all day? Or are you on purpose, intentionally stimulating, learning, growing? Assess that. Yeah, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you on that? So 10 would be, I read every day. I have a routine. In the morning, I read from my spiritual material. I tend to look at some form of information, global news around the world, my local news, or I have a book that I'm reading. You see behind me on my fireplace on top, I have so many books. There's books all around me, all on my desk, everywhere there's books. Are you a reader? You know what they say, readers are leaders. So where are you on the continuum? So we said intellectual, the next one, emotional wellness. How self-aware are you? How in touch are you with your emotions? Can you regulate your emotions? Do you have coping skills? Are you using them? All of these are indicators of your emotional wellness and well-being. Are you in touch with your feelings? Can you articulate what you are feeling, your emotions? And so you want to be able to process your emotions, or do you suppress it? And sometimes when we suppress our emotions, we get into unhealthy, toxic ways of suppressing because the emotional wellness is low. So where are you on that continuum? Very important, recognizing, assessing your emotional wellness. And then the last one is your spiritual wellness. And that is, how meaningful is your life? And it's a little different from occupational, when you get fulfillment from your work and your responsibilities. This is connected to you, the meaning, your being, and the person outside of yourself whom you live for. Your connection to a higher being, your God, or your biblical truths in which you live. Are you living according to your values? You know, a lot of people who, it's in my circle because I'm very involved in the spiritual world. I am a believer, and I'm very involved in my church. And quite frankly, my family, my friends, my circle have a very strong spiritual base. And so I get the opportunity to talk to people often and coach people who are Christians. And what comes up oftentimes is the gap between how they actually are living their lives and what they really, or what they say they believe. And so that's what I'm talking about. Your spiritual wellness, is it connected to your values and your biblical truths, or is there a chasm? Is there a gap? And so rate that. You know, I was working with one of my clients, and she had a great visual that we really used as a source for her to self-evaluate. And she created a ladder, because she had made a statement, and she said something, I feel like I'm on the ladder, on the first rung of a ladder. And so I went with that. I said, well, tell me more about that. And as she explored that concept, we decided together that she would create a ladder, and she would put on each level of the ladder, and there were 12 levels, where she wanted to be over time in her spiritual walk. Great visual. That's what we're talking about. Where are you on the continuum? Are you doing and being and connected and living this meaningful life that is totally representative of what you believe and your biblical truths? You're a 10, or is there room for improvement, for growth? So find out where you are. Again, it's just an assessment. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. And I am curious, give me in the comments, tell me where you are on the continuum with the six dimensions of wellness. So that's it for today. remember, lasting change often begins with just one decision and sometimes just one